Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. It's time for day 3 of the £5 detox challenge, where we're trying to lose £5 of toxic fat. Not necessarily in 5 days, but maybe in the 5 days after you've actually learned everything and started applying the whole lot. So how is everyone doing so far? Are you ticking things off as you're going along? Are you practicing some forgiveness? Are you practicing the deep breathing, the autonomic pairing? Have you skipped ahead? Have you looked at some of these things and already think, yeah, yes, I know what he's going to talk about? Like today, the narrowed feeding window. If you looked at this and you already know about intermittent fasting, then you'll know a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. Now, just so you know, I don't think I'm going to be seeing comments coming up today, so I'll look back at comments afterwards. So, what are we down to today? So, narrowed feeding window. Here are my pages of notes. I'm going to go through, I think what I'll do is I'll go through the 5 pointers that are down on the checklist first, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the supplements and a few other bits and pieces as to why things could be important and why it's really important to understand the link between what am I talking about? The link between weight loss and detoxification. Let me just check something. Let's just check. Okay. Is it going live? Okay, so sorry about this. Okay, where is it? We have a little bit of an error. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's okay. All right, so where are we going to start? So, what was I going to say? So, intermittent fasting. Shall we talk about that first? Yeah. Okay. So, narrowed eating window. We will talk about that first. Basically, we're not here just to be smaller versions of ourselves. We're here to be smaller, more vibrant versions of ourselves. And one of the ways to do that is I'm going to start talking about food today. Okay, is food. You want to basically make sure that your plate is about 20 to 30% quality protein, and the rest basically vegetables. Okay, but whole vegetables that you can eat with cooking, but without the processing. So grains out so much at the moment. Just use grains sparingly. So 20 to 30% quality protein, 70 to 80% vegetables, fruits, and other plants. Although I've made a spelling mistakes here and I put other pants down here. Don't eat pants, eat plants. Now, when I say quality protein, whether that is actually from vegetarian sources or vegan sources, doesn't matter. But if it's coming from an animal source, okay, if you are eating an animal that has not been looked after, it's not been raised well, it's been slaughtered in a bad way, it's going to be full of horrible hormones, the fight or flight hormones, cortisol, inflammatory stuff, and you're going to be eating that as well. So when you're eating animals, it's good to make sure that you eat animals that have been loved for, they've had love and nourishment put into them, even though they're going to be eaten as well. So that's why organic, free range, things like that really make a big difference. But also, as people are pointing out, is that organic doesn't mean that it's actually been well looked after as much as just it's not been fed rubbish. So if you know somewhere local and you know how well the animals are cared for, then eat local as well, because that's also better for the environment. But when it comes to fruits and vegetables, there's all the pesticides and herbicides and stuff that's on there. Now, the stuff that's put on there to kill insects and to kill weeds also is bad for the bugs inside us, our bacteria. They're poisonous in some ways for us as well, a lot of these things. And the more of these poisons you eat, they accumulate. Now, each little poison, each little toxin may be okay by itself at a small amount. But when you start having hundreds or thousands of them at small amounts, that's where it becomes a problem. And this is why it's missing the normal sort of medical sort of procedures. And this is why things can actually get through and into our food chain, because these things are only studied in minute amounts, in the amounts that they put in, like this, as opposed to like, okay, we're going to add loads of glyphosate and we're going to add loads of atrazine and then we're going to add lots of different antibiotics, and then we're going to add some steroids and we're going to add some hormones and all these things together. This is what the problem is. It's all of this stuff mixed together. So we want to lower the load. So you want to look out for what's called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. I'll put some links, but you can just go to Google, Dr. Google, and you can put in the Dirty Dozen UK. And this will tell you the fruits and vegetables and plants that are sprayed the most. So those are the ones you want to really go for organic. And then the Clean 15 are basically the ones that are the least sprayed, which are the easiest to eat, and you don't necessarily have to go organic to eat them. So, but it's even better to grow your own food as much as possible. So grow your own food, eat local, eat organic, and do the best you can. So let's see, squared, I've done that. Protein. Now this is actually very, very important for weight loss. And in actual fact, for healthy weight maintenance, it's really important that you try and get at least 1.5 grams, maybe up to 2 grams of protein per kilogram you weigh every day. So for instance, if you weigh 90 kilograms, then you want to be having probably about 120, 130, 140 grams of protein a day, split into 3 different meals, or maybe a little bit more depending on how much protein it is. So the heavier you are, the more protein you should try and eat, pretty much, because you also need protein for your detoxification system to work. You need protein for lots of different pathways to actually open up and actually start working, for your liver to work properly. So you need protein, and most people, they're eating no protein at breakfast. It's just cereals. So there might be a tiny bit of protein, but nowhere near enough. At lunchtime, they might have a bit of protein in a sandwich or a bit of protein with salad, but not very much. And dinner time is when they get most of their protein, but it's nowhere near enough to really keep everything healthy. So have a look at what you're doing. Now, if you're a long way off of this, start off by just trying to get 1 gram of protein per kilogram you weigh every day. But then to get over that, then it's great to use a protein powder, whether it's whey protein, whether it's pumpkin protein, hemp protein. There's a particular protein powder I use called Ultra Clear pH+, which is actually full of different nutrients that aid the detox process as well. And it's also great tasting. And I use a mixture of different proteins to make sure that I get enough protein every day. So that's very, very important. And we're going to get on to the other things at the end. We're going to skip the supplements. We're going to come back to the supplements, and we are going to go into decreasing the eating window. So why would you want to decrease your eating window, and what does this mean? What does intermittent fasting mean? And there are different types of fasting. Now, if you really want to lose weight quickly, then just stop eating and just drink water. But don't do that for very long unless you're actually working with someone who's actually worked with a lot of fasting before, because if you go beyond 24 hours, then it's really important that you start off eating with just maybe some steamed vegetables, something very light, or a soup, something that's really easy for your system to digest, because the longer you go without eating food for, when you start eating food, no matter how hungry you are, the more of a shock to the system it is. And with fasting, often the danger is actually putting too much food into your body too quickly afterwards, and your body goes into shock and goes into shutdown. So 24-hour fast, okay, from one day to the next, you're probably fine to just eat a normal meal. Just make sure you chew, as we spoke about yesterday. But yeah, if you're going for longer than 24 hours, make sure that you start off with something gentle, light, cooked, basically, so it's easy to digest and small, and then you wait a few hours and then you have something a bit bigger, a bit more substantial. If you are looking at doing a longer fast and you want help, then let me know. But for what we're doing at the moment, it's just what's called intermittent or reduced window fasting. So if you say eat your dinner at 7 o'clock at night, okay, and you've finished eating, okay, and then you don't have any snacks afterwards, and then you have your breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning before you go to work, although that's changing at the moment, then there's been 12 hours. Now it takes 12 hours, even if you're doing nothing, for your body to use all of its sugar reserves. And then after 12 hours, it has to start burning fat. So if you eat your dinner and have it finished at 7 and then eat breakfast at 7, you basically you've just run out of sugar and you're just about to start burning fat and you eat food again. So you want to wait at least an hour. So you have at least an hour of fat burning every day. But if you can make that 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours every single day, and so you can do this by making your dinner a bit earlier, so finishing by 6, and then you don't have breakfast till 8, that's 14 hours. Or if you wait till 9, that's 15 hours. If you wait till 10, that's 16 hours. And if you can try and get all of your eating to with just an 8-hour period, you will find that even if you're eating the same amount of calories, you will start burning fat. And this is why intermittent fasting or reduced window eating or narrowed window eating is so powerful, and you can narrow it further as well. So for instance, most days I don't start eating till 1 o'clock, and usually I'm finished by 8. Sometimes it's actually much less, and sometimes I do vary it, but I have a rhythm throughout the week. But try and find what you can do, and just start off by just trying to have your breakfast a little bit later or your dinner a little bit earlier, and then to fill you up, drink water. And so in the morning, if you're going to do what a lot of people are finding, it's easier to shift your breakfast later, then drink water in the morning. Drink at least a litre of water. It doesn't have to be in one go. It can actually be spread out over a few hours before you start actually eating, but drink more water. Okay, and just try and do that in the morning, or if you're actually finishing your eating earlier at the end of the day, and if you get hungry, just drink more water then. Although be careful about drinking too late, because it might then keep you up at night. So we have 1 litre of water before eating or drinking anything else. Eat in an 8-hour window. And now what are the other benefits though? So when you go into a fasting state, whether it's just you haven't eaten for 13 or 14 hours, it helps. Removes damaged cells like inflamed ones, cancerous ones. It restores and resets the immune system. Starts lipolysis, which is fat breakdown. Helps repair the digestive function, because everything gets to rest. If you're not eating for 14, 15, 16, 17 hours, the only thing that's going in is water or maybe a cup of tea or something, or maybe a coffee, then your pancreas gets to rest. Your digestive system, colon, gets to rest. So if you've got colitis, if you've got diabetes, if you've got a problem that's related to the gut and the digestive system, you're giving it a chance to actually rest. Now, if you have got diabetes, if you have got a health problem and you are concerned about going too long, just look for 14 hours of not eating and just see how you feel and monitor things. And if you want help, reach out and I can coach you personally. Better sleep. A lot of people report better sleep when they start using intermittent fasting, improve mental clarity and focus. A lot of people report more energy. And also, when you start burning fat as opposed to sugar, you go into an anti-inflammatory state. So people feel less pain as well in general. So what breaks the fast? Basically anything over 50 calories. So yes, in the morning, if you are looking at having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, that's fine, just no sugar. Ideally, you just want to drink water for as long as possible and then have the tea or coffee as late as possible. But in most people, it won't break the fast as long as there's no sugar in it. And milk, cream, sometimes it's a problem, sometimes it's not. Ideally, you need a blood sugar monitor, and then you'll actually know what sets you out of your fasting state. Early signs of hunger can be thirst. What was the next one? No food 3 hours before bed. Again, if you're eating too soon before bed, then your body is basically still going to be wanting to digest. And even though it means that you might feel sluggish, it can still stop you from sleeping properly. So you want to make sure that you stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. Eat as much organic whole food. Yep, that's already done. Fresh fiber first. So here we come sort of into the supplements as well. But fiber, when you're eating your meal, okay, if you try and eat all the vegetables first, okay, and really chew them, you're going to satisfy yourself a lot more. And okay, you can nibble away at the protein as well. But if you're doing that, and if you've got like potatoes and carbohydrates and rice on your plate as well, if you eat all the vegetables and all these things, other good things first, then you're going to find you're not going to need as many potatoes and carbohydratey things. So you don't have to cut out carbs and potatoes and things like that. But if you eat the vegetables and all these other things first, you're going to feel less need for the others, and it's going to help you keep the calories lower without counting them in that narrowed fasting window. And I'm going to get a little bit more to that in a moment as well, as to why you would want to have less calories, apart from obvious reasons. Fresh fiber first, avoid spray food, snacking. Yeah, if you're feeling like snacking, is it because you're hungry, or is it because you're just tired because you didn't get enough sleep? Is it because you're bored? Is it because you're thirsty? Look at the emotions around when you are snacking. Yes. This I got from Marissa Peer. I don't know if you've watched the Marissa Peer I Am Enough or You Are Enough video yet, but this is something else I got for her. When we were children, what did our parents give us as a treat to soothe us? Usually some sweets. It's like, here, have a sweet. Take your mind off of the accident or the injury. And we carry that through into later life. So when you're giving yourself a treat, is it really a treat? Try and find something else. TV, that's another thing. Yes, watching TV before bed. Try to avoid watching TV or using screens for at least 2 hours before bedtime, because that puts lots of blue light into your system, and ideally you want blue light in the morning. And I think we're going to talk about circadian rhythms tomorrow. So more on that tomorrow. That's all right. Yeah, so read a book, etc. So the main things I want you to do food-wise are increase your protein, probably increase your fiber. Okay, and we're going to get to the fiber supplements in a moment. Eat in an 8-hour window or less. No food for 3 hours before bed. Try and eat as much organic as possible, and drink more water instead of snacking. So supplements. I said fiber. Now, one of the biggest studies on nutrition and diet and genetics what's it called? It's a twin study, and I can't remember the name of it now. And it's by Dr. Tim Spector, or Professor Tim Spector. And what he found is that the most significant thing in people's health isn't their genetics, because they looked at identical twins. He actually said it's more to do with the bacteria in our gut, and that's more to do with fiber. And he said the best thing that most people can do is double the amount of fiber that they are eating. And one of the easiest ways to get more fibers in your system is to actually use a fiber supplement. And there are a number of different fiber supplements, but psyllium husk, I chose psyllium husks powder for a reason. One is because it's food that's it's used a lot around the world. It's relatively easy to get hold of, it's cheap, and it's safe for pretty much everybody, unless you have an allergy to psyllium husk powder. And you want to use it in powder form, so it's easiest to actually use, and it turns into a kind of a gel, basically. Stir it in water, drink it with your food. Start off with just 5 grams. So you're getting 5 grams with 3 meals, so that's 15 grams. And then maybe increase it, if you want to 10 grams a meal. But the reason you want to add fiber is not only is it good for your gut, okay, not only is it good for your bacteria, but it helps latch onto a lot of the things in your meal that you don't want to absorb, like lots of unwanted fats. And also some of the toxins that might be dumped, but it doesn't stop the absorption of a lot of other nutrients in your food. So, fiber, and the RDA of fiber is meant to be 30 grams. Okay, but most people don't get to 30 grams. But even though the RDA is 30, a lot of people say, well, you look around the world, look at cultures still living their traditional lifestyle, they get at least 60 grams or 70 grams or even more grams of fibre every single day. So whatever amount of fibre you are using at the moment, use some psyllium husk powder to actually slowly increase it. Now, if you do have a gut problem, constipation for instance, now actually because psyllium husk is more of it's a mucus, it helps you create sort of mucus, it helps slide things through, so it can actually help ease constipation. If you've got irritable bowel problems, if you've got inflammatory bowel disorders like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, actually increased good fibres have been shown to help heal the gut. In fact, psyllium husk and the mucolytics actually help heal the gut, especially when you combine it with intermittent fasting and resting as well, so the gut gets to rest as well. So that was the first thing. So increase the fibre as a supplement, and just if you have got a gut problem, start off with maybe 1 gram. Just start off with a tiny little bit in water, drink it with your meal. It's just fibre, and just have it once, and then just slowly build it up, and slowly look at building it up to 5 grams with each meal, 10 grams with each meal, depending on how you're feeling with the whole process. And you can take it indefinitely. Now, the second supplement I spoke about was activated charcoal. Again, the reason I chose it is because it's cheap, readily available, it's got lots of uses, and you're very unlikely to have any kind of problems or side effects with it. And what activated charcoal does is it basically binds poisons and toxins in your gut. Again, it's been shown that people with gut problems, it really helps because it helps latch onto all the poisons that all the bad bacteria are actually dumping in your gut. So it latches onto them and pulls them out. But it doesn't just latch onto poisons and toxins, though. It also latches onto minerals and some good stuff as well. So if you're taking medication with activated charcoal, your medication is going to be latched to the activated charcoal and it's going to go through your body. So the activated charcoal you want to take away from meals, you want to take it away from medication, you want to take it away from other supplements, you want to take it by itself on an empty stomach between meals, or if you forget all day, just take it last thing at night before you go to bed. That's a very minimum. But it's good to try and take, you could just take 1 capsule, which is usually about 1/4 of a gram, but you can take 2, 3, 4 grams of activated charcoal 3 or 4 times a day, as long as it's away from other food. And again, if you're worried about how it's going to impact on your gut, just have one, just have a tiny little bit, between meals, and slowly build it up. So start off with a little bit, and then what else can we do? So there are other fibres, there are a lot of other binding agents. If you really want to take a binding agent that actually binds onto lots of heavy metals, lots of other gases, then there's something called Toxaprevent. If you'd like a link to that, I can put one in, or just email me. But there are another couple of supplements that you can take if you want to, that can help the detox process. So let me just draw a cell for you. So here is a cell, whether it's a fat cell or what. So basically, fat cell full of all cells have got toxins and rubbish. Basically, all cells, they need, coming into them, they need a nervous system that tells them what to do. They need the right chemical signaling. They need all the right nutrients, but then they need to get rid of toxins, because if the toxins build up inside the cell's not going to work. Now, when you start losing weight, by decreasing your calories, so if you really want to decrease your calories, just eat vegetables and a bit of protein, and really narrow your fasting window and really narrow your eating window. But as you start getting rid of fat, a lot of toxins are going to be mobilized, which is why it's so important to increase your fiber and to also have binding agents, because rapid weight loss in middle age, even though it can create lots of health for you now, it's related to more problems later on, possibly because of the toxic release. We're talking about bariatric surgery, that sort of thing. So have some binders when you're really decreasing calories, but you can have some binders when you start intermittent fasting, because you're probably going to start losing weight. But what else can you do? So stuff comes into the cell, stuff goes out of the cell. Now, there are some things that open up little gateways. Let's go green. To let things in and out. Okay, that didn't actually work, did it? Let's go black then. There's little gateways to let things in and out. And there are certain things that close these up, and there are certain things that open things up to let things really out. Now, some of the things that are good for our liver, for instance, milk thistle. A lot of people take milk thistle and it's part of a detox cleanse program. Milk thistle actually closes this. And even though it's very, very good for the liver, the organ of detox, milk thistle actually slows down the detoxification process by shutting these gates where the cells are trying to get rid of the toxins. One of the best things for actually opening these ports to allow stuff out is something that most people are only advised to take this as a mood enhancer. It's something called St. John's wort, which again you can get quite readily and easily. And St. John's wort comes with a huge list of side effects, probably because St. John's wort opens up these channels. So it basically allows everything out, basically. All the toxins, it just allows everything out. And it gets dumped into the gut and it circulates around the body again. But St. John's wort is used as a mood enhancer. It's used as a natural antidepressant. So if you're on an antidepressant, don't take St. John's wort, okay? Talk to me if you want other forms of detoxification. But St. John's wort, again, if you want to take St. John's wort, take it with meals. Just take it in a small amount, first of all. So whatever the dosage says on the side, just take the minimum that you can. Just take it maybe once a day and see how you feel. But make sure you're taking a binder. Okay, because I think a lot of the actual side effects of St. John's wort come from the detoxing process. So St. John's wort really helps open this out. Something else that really helps open up these gates is something called coenzyme Q10. Coenzyme Q10 is something that our body should be making. A lot of statin drugs inhibit your ability to make coenzyme Q10. Coenzyme Q10 is related to decreasing blood pressure. It's related to improving your energy levels, and it may also help open out these ports. And it doesn't have the same interactions or problems as St. John's wort, probably because it doesn't open as ports so widely. And also St. John's wort has other stuff in there that probably is creating some of the side effects maybe as well. So coenzyme Q10 can be useful as well, but you want really high doses, which can get very expensive, which is fine. I mean, at the moment, I'm taking 100 milligrams of ubiquinol, which is the best form of coenzyme Q10. So it's more expensive. I'm taking 100 milligrams of that 3 times a day at the moment, as well as St. John's wort as well. So I think that is enough there for the moment. So let me recap. You want to narrow your eating window as much as possible. You want to have more fresh fibre. You want to have more protein as well. Except maybe if you're really trying to lower your calories as much as possible. If you really want to, if you build yourself up with protein for a week, okay, or 2 weeks, and start and take all these supplements, and then you can have a week or 5 days where you just try and eat as little as possible. Just eat vegetables and maybe a small amount of protein to really cut the calories. But just do it for about a week and then go back to sort of eating healthily again. Because it's actually the eating healthily in the long run that's going to make a difference, but you can do short bursts of intense detox and intense calorie restriction. Now, one other thing I just want to say about the activated charcoal is take it for, if you're going to take it long term, take it for about 90 days at most, and then rest for a month. Okay, the fibre you can carry on taking, okay, but the activated charcoal, the binder, probably take it for about 3 months and then rest for a month. Okay. Oh, sorry, one other thing. Take a multivitamin. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to say that. It's in my notes as well. The other thing is to take a multivitamin. So many of the different pathways for detoxification. You can find all these super duper detox prepared nutrients and things, but just take a multivitamin mineral. Okay, so you're going to take a multivitamin mineral, take some extra fibre, use a binder, and then maybe use some St. John's wort, or maybe use some coenzyme Q10 if you want to as well. So increase protein, increase fibre, drink more water, decrease your narrow your feeding window. Make sure you stop at least eating at least 3 hours before bed so you get better sleep as well. All right, so Oh, that's half an hour. Today's challenge. What is today's challenge? Basically, yeah, share your eating window. And what are you currently doing? What do you want to try and get to? Remember, just get there gradually. Some people will find it really easy and can just transition like this, but it's usually best if you've got a lot of health problems just to do slow changes. Okay, so share your eating window and best of luck, everyone. Let me know how you're doing and I will look through the comments and I will see you all tomorrow at, let's see, it's tomorrow, you know what? I think we're going to do 3 o'clock again tomorrow. I think that works. Yep, we're going to do 3 o'clock tomorrow as well. Okay, be well, be fantastic, be magnificently healthy, live long and prosper. And if you do have big queries, big sort of thoughts that you think you need help, then reach out because I do have something else for you. And I'll probably speak more at the weekend. I might speak a bit more tomorrow about something called the Magnificent 7 program as well. Be well.